this video, we are spotlighting the mod Woot, the mob factory by Ipsos. Let's check it out. Hello everybody, my name is RG Shah, and this is the Minecraft Mod Index. This is the series where we break down mods to see what they do and how they work. Today we are covering the mod Woot. What Woot is? Well, it's a mob factory, right? It's a mob farm. It's super server friendly and makes even just your normal worlds will be less laggy by using these rather than large scale farms. Now how it works is it spawns a mob inside of the factory, kills it, all for the cost of power. So we supply it with RF and it's going to give us items. So in this tier 1 farm here, we have one skeleton that's going to be spawned every 256 ticks for the cost of 325 RF, and we'll get one of these items. Now this works with all modded mobs and creatures, including passive creatures. It will also work with the Wither and the End Dragon. So here's a quick tip. In JEI, to see all the items in Woot, simply type @Woot. The @ symbol is the shift number 2 if you didn't know. So @Woot shows us all the items. If you left click on something, it's going to show you the crafting recipe, and if you right click on something, it's going to show you what it's used in, like as a component. So the first thing to do to get started in Woot is craft yourself one of these guides. Just a book and some rotten flesh will give you the Woot guide. Now we're not going to go through all the crafting recipes here, but I will say one of the next things you'll want will be a yaw hammer and the intern. The intern will be used to assemble your Woot factories, and the yaw hammer is going to be used in a lot of crafting recipes. Woot factories consist of two structures, the factory and a remote structure. The remote structure imports and exports items and fluids and provides the factory with power. The factory itself consists of the factory controller, the factory heart, and all the upgrades along with the rest of the blocks to assemble the structure. The factory controller is one of the most important blocks in the Woot factory. The controller is what determines what mobs will spawn in the factory. So in order to craft the factory controller, first we're going to get ourselves an ender shard, and then we're going to go find whatever mob we wish to make or put in the factory. So there we go. I smacked the zombie with my ender shard, and over on the left you see it says capture mob. Now we need to kill him. So now we've killed the zombie. We look at our ender shard, it says zombie fully programmed. Now this is configurable in the options, so you may be in a pack where you have to kill 10 zombies to get a fully programmed ender shard. Once you have your ender shard ready, take it over to your Sigen iron anvil, craft yourself a controller core and a factory base, and throw them on or near the factory or the anvil, and then smack it with a yaw hammer, left click. And there you go. Now you have yourself a tier 1 zombie factory controller. Now that we have a controller made, let's assemble a tier 1 Woot factory. So to do so, we're going to first use a factory layout, and it's going to show us where to place the blocks. Now in addition, we can use the intern to place the blocks for us, but if we have it set to tier 1 right now, and if we look at the intern, it'll show us all the blocks we need. It shows we need 10 factory flesh casings, 14 factory bone casings, 2 factory upgrade bases, and 2 factory tier 1 caps. In addition to those, we also need a factory heart and the factory controller that we just made. So we can go up here and place the blocks right where it's showing us to. So if we take the flesh casings, and you can see the ones now in my right hand match the ones right in front of this concrete block, we can just place them, around and follow the instructions. Now we can also use the intern and just right click. Well, first we have to place a factory heart. So we can actually go ahead and get rid of the factory layout. Now I'm going to switch into survival, just so you can see how it's going to work. So now I'm going to place the factory heart on top, right there where it was showing us that it needed to go. I'm going to right click on it and hold, and it's going to assemble the factory for us. Alright, so there's the basic factory assembled. Now we can take the factory controller that we just created, and we're going to stick it right behind the factory heart, right there. So the factory on top is complete. Now we just need to add the secondary structure, which is the importer, exporter, and the power cell. So the exporter goes on the bottom, and these need to be underneath of the heart, so the heart's right above there, and it can go down to 10 blocks below the heart. So as we said, there's the exporter, the importer goes on top, and the power cell goes on top of that. And as you see, it formed as soon as I placed that last block. Now the farm is ready to go. It just needs two more things. It needs a place to put the items, and it needs power. So we're going to use a creative power cell for this demonstration, and we're just going to place it on the side here. So now the factory is getting power, and that power cell actually connected, or excuse me, that capacitor bank connected to the basic power cell. And down here on the bottom where the exporter is, right there's the exporter, we're going to place some storage. So we can put a storage crate and we're going to put a storage chest there. So the storage is, everything exported is going to come out the bottom. Pretty easy. Now then, if we go up and we look at our factory, and we're going to right click on the factory heart with an empty hand. There we go. Now it shows that it's spawning. It shows that it's a tier 1 zombie spawning one mob at 100 RF a tick, and it's going to spawn a zombie every 320 ticks, and it's going to give us one of these amazing loots, well, a chance to give us one of these amazing loots. Just like killing any mob, you're not guaranteed to get a drop. So if we go down here and look, there we go. We're already starting to get some loot. Now, if you want to turn your factory off, you can place a lever on the factory heart and just flip it down. And if we look at the factory, you can see that it stopped spawning. It's paused. And we can just turn it back on to continue. So there we go. That's how you assemble a tier 1, a basic tier 1 mob factory. Okay, now that we know how to assemble a tier 1 factory, let's look at some of the upgrades for the factories. We have efficiency, decapitation, mass, XP, looting, and rate. The rate will make the mobs spawn quicker in the factory. Looting will give you more drops per kill. XP will give you these amazing shards, which you can consume for 16 XP. Mass upgrade will make more mobs spawn inside of your factory. Decapitation will give you the mob heads. And efficiency will make it so that the factory doesn't use as much power. In addition to those basic upgrades, there's also some for evil craft and blood magic. We won't get into these today, but I will show you what they are real quick. So there's the blood magic life essence tank, the blood magic life essence altar, the blood magic crystal upgrade, and the evil craft blood tanks. So now that we went through these basic ones, let's go over here and look at our factory that we just created a moment ago. And I went ahead and applied a rate 1 upgrade and a looting 1 upgrade. So if we look inside of our factory, we can see that it's still a tier 1 and it's only spawning one zombie. At power, it's costing us 325 RF a tick, so it's 225 more power by applying those upgrades. It's spawning one zombie every 256 ticks, and as you can see down here, it's giving us these loots. So that's with a rate upgrade, so it's spawning faster at 256 ticks, and over here is a looting, so it's going to give us more loot. Now, in addition, just to explain real quick, Woot is a learning, it has a learning mechanism, so it can learn mobs. So when you open up, you may only see one or two things in your factory, but then you come back later and you'll see that this list grows. So as it kills mobs, it can learn what loots can drop. So it works with all modded mobs. All right, so that's how we do the upgrades. And if you want to replace them, you can simply just break them or pick them up and place a different one. There we go. So now we got a mass and a rate upgrade. So if we look at the controller now, it shows we're spawning 2 zombies because we're using the mass. Now if we break that and we apply the efficiency and we look at our factory, as you can see, now it's only costing us 193. If we take that back off and we look, it's 225. So it's making it more efficient and it's costing us less power by having the efficiency upgrade. Let's upgrade our tier 1 factory to a tier 2 factory. So we're going to take a look at the intern here. So right now if we look at it, it says it's on a tier 1. So if we shift right click, it'll change it to a tier 2. Again, tier 3, and right click one more time and it goes to a tier 4. One more time, back to tier 1. So we want a tier 2 factory. So now that we have the factory, the tier 2 selected, we can look at the intern again and it's going to show all the building blocks that we need. The top 2 we already needed because they were part of the tier 1. The 10 factory flesh casings were good, they're there. 14 factory bone casings, good, they're already there. The new one is 35 factory blaze casings. So we've got 35 blaze casings right here. In addition, we also need 4 factory upgrade bases. Previously we had 2 on there, so we added 2 more. And we need 4 factory tier 2 caps. So there they are. We have everything we need in our inventory. Let's go on up here and we're going to point at the factory heart again. And I am in survival. And I'm just going to shift and hold down right click on the factory heart. And it's pulling the blocks out. And as you can see there, it's slowly assembling the factory. And there we go. it is fully upgraded, and once it finished, it actually attached to the structure, so they don't have the small blocks, right? So there we go. That's a tier 2 factory, and as you can see back here, now we have room for more upgrades. From this point on, all the farms can hold up to 4 upgrades. Tier 2 factory can hold up to 4 factories up to tier 2. So if we go back over here and we grab some of our upgrades, so we had a rate over there. Let's go ahead and grab another rate. Let's grab, what else sounds good here? Let's do the mass upgrade. So we'll get one of these and the middle one. So we got a tier 1 and a tier 2. We'll also do decapitation, sounds good. So we'll get a tier 1 and a tier 2, and we'll also grab a tier 2 efficiency. So let's run back over here and we'll throw these on. Now these have to, these are called totems. These have to be stacked with the tier 1 on bottom, a tier 2 on top of that, and as you can see, they attached. We'll add a tier 1 there, add our efficiency tier 2 there, as our decapitation, and our decapitation tier 2. So now if we look at our factory heart, you can see it's using a lot more power. Now it's using 1084 RF a tick, but it's spawning 4 zombies every 160 ticks. So we're going to be generating loot a whole lot faster, and as you can also see down here, because we have the decapitation, we're also getting the zombie heads. So that's how you upgrade your factory from a tier 1 to a tier 2. Now to upgrade your factory from a tier 2 to a tier 3, you just follow the same process. Put your intern on a tier 3. It's going to tell you what blocks you need to have in your inventory. Use your intern on the factory heart, your tier 2, and it's going to upgrade it to a tier 3 as long as you have all the right blocks in your inventory. And the same thing from tier 3 to tier 4. Now I have 2 factories set up here, a tier 3 there and a tier 4 here. They both have the exact same 4 tier 3 upgrades, which are mass, decapitation, the rate, and efficiency upgrades. And if we look at the factory controller here, it shows that we're spawning 6 zombies every 80 ticks at a cost of 3,260 RF a tick, and we've got an 80% chance of decapitation to get zombie heads. So if we look at the factory heart on this one, the tier 3, shows 6 zombies every 80 ticks at a cost of 3,036 RF a tick, and we got 80% chance on getting zombie heads from decapitation again. So they're both spawning at 4 seconds, and so they're pretty much identical. Now, why would you need a tier 4 and just not stop at a tier 3? Well, the answer is not every factory can spawn every mob. So to spawn the end dragon, you're going to need a tier 4 factory. To spawn a wither, you're also going to need a tier 4. Now, some of these down through, this isn't a complete list. This is just a few that I made just to show you. So a factory controller here for an Elder Guardian is a tier 3. We've got a Wither Skeleton tier 3, Villager tier 3, Enderman are tier 3, Blaze is a tier 2, Ghast is a tier 2, Creeper is a tier 1, a Zombie is a tier 1, a Blitz is a tier 1, and a Cow is a tier 1. So as you can see, it requires different factories depending on what mobs you're spawning. Now let's take a look at the last 2 main mobs that you're going to be spawning, which is the Wither and the End Dragon. Yeah. So if we take a look at this factory, it's spawning 1 Wither every 1,200 ticks at a cost of 620 RF a tick. Now, there's a new place here with the ingredients. It shows that we need 4 soul sand per mob, and we need 3 Wither skeleton skulls per mob. So just like we were to make a Wither to kill it normally, we're going to have to supply the factory with those same blocks. And we do so by attaching a storage to the factory importer down here on the secondary structure. And then we just put our soul sand and our Wither skeleton skulls in here, and it's going to pull from them to spawn the mob. So if we turn it on here and take a look, so it's going to pull our soul sand and our skulls out of the storage down there, and it's going to spawn them. Now to do the dragon, you're going to need the end crystals. So just like if you had already killed the dragon and you wanted to spawn him again, you need to place the end crystals around the end portal, right, in the end. Well, that's the same blocks or same items that you're going to need to supply the factory to get the dragon to spawn. So if we come up here and we break the factory controller, and then we get our dragon controller out here, end dragon tier 4, we're going to place it there, the factory reformed, and we can look in here, and it says, wait, Why does it say Enderman? Because I placed the wrong one. Let's place that back down there. Okay, so now that we have the right one on there, so we've got an end dragon spawning every 1,200 ticks at a cost of 520 RF a tick, and it's costing 4 end crystals to spawn him. And it's going to drop the ender egg, dragon's breath, and other modded stuff. So that's how you spawn the wither and the end dragon. And that, my friends, is Woot, the mob factory by Ipsos. I hope you enjoyed the spotlight in our mod index series. If you did, please leave a like, and if you're new, be sure to subscribe. You don't want to miss any episodes in our mod index series. You know, it's a series where we break down mods, blocks, and items, see what they do, how they work, and how freaking much fun we can have with them. So yeah, you take care, and I shall see you all in the next episode. Bye bye.